Hello, everybody. My name is Zerduku, and welcome back to Mr. Maniac the Raccoon. This is chapter 3. And just a little side note there, Chelsea, since Kari, uh, just to let you know, on the side of the screen, just like in, um, well, this is called Open Office, at least this text program is called, um, it tells you how many pages there are right here. So that should tell you how long the chapters are. Anyways, let's switch seats without further ado.
Now, where are we? Oh, there's only 23. Hello, I'm back. Mr. Maniac the Raccoon, Chapter 3 How to Escape the House. Pretty sure this is the last chapter.
This is, at least as far as I've gotten, anyways.
Matt took it upon himself to put the tape into the tape recorder, while Gerald was still taking darts out of his shoulder, blood squirting all over the floor. Gerald removes the last dart and lets out an "Ouch! That hurts, man!" wiping the last droplets of blood from his wounds. Lily hands Gerald a bandage and he wraps his shoulder nice and tight to stop any further breathing. "Gosh, you okay?" Matt says. Gerald simply nods his head and puts the final piece of tape on the bandage to hold it in place. "Everybody ready?" says Matt. Max, Lily, join Gerald joined Matt on the floor to listen to the recording. Matt presses play. A voice begins. And this is the audio tape of the famous stand-up comedian Robert Howard. 5 years has passed while working under Funny Cartoons Animation Studio. And I got to tell you, David Fisher and his executive producers seem to make me very nervous. It seems whenever I walk past their cubicles, they always have gifts, questions, and always are drawing your symbols on their papers. I don't know what's going on, but at least I'm being paid very well. For that reason alone, I decided to keep my mouth shut. However, I can secretly make you think that this whole studio is really going into a satanic cult. However, the raccoon However, if you are wondering what I'm doing on this show, Mr. Maniac the Raccoon, I play the character Ignorance the Turtle. Partly so I keep my mouth shut because my role as Ignorance the Turtle seems to be making me more money than I got when I was on stage. I was thought that animation was the new golden stage of comedy. However, if this weirdness continues, I think I might just resign. The audio tape ended. "Okay, guys, there should be 3 more audio tapes for us to find. Then we can finally go home," explained Matt. "Like, assuming that crazy cartoon keeps his promise," said Lily. Oh, what an attitude. "You guys, guys, I think Lily has a point," said Gerald with doubt in his voice. "There is no guarantee that the raccoon demon will keep his word and set us free when we finally find all the audio tapes."
I was
Gerald,
thinking we're going to be both needing a nap out of this.
yeah. Gerald continued to explain. "I don't think we have a choice in the matter. We just got to do what he says and hope he keeps his word. That's all we can do. And if he betrays us, then I guess we're going to have to outsmart him. Because no matter what, we're getting out of here in one piece, said Max with confidence in his voice. All four of the kids agree. After hearing Max speak with such determination, they leap to their feet with promise and hope. "Let's go," said Gerald. So they run back to the infinite maze to find the last three tapes. "Don't worry, you silly kids, I'll keep my word. After all, tricks are for kids," said the Mr. Maniac. The raccoon is an unknown location. "Oh crap, they are kids. I guess I can't shoot them like the kids should of shot the rabbit in that stupid silly commercial. Or whatever happens in the stupid commercial," Mr. Maniac Raccoon says to himself. "Hey, wait a moment. Writer, what's wrong with Dragon Program?" "The font is too small for the audience to read," said Mr. Raccoon to the writer of the story. "Someone I give you more lessons how Dragon Program should work." "You stupid idiot," said Mr. Maniac Raccoon. Wow.
It's my frustration with Dragon Program. It keeps pulling that rubbish. It keeps changing the font on me,
Hmm.
and I can't control it.
So about 30 seconds later, all the kids continue to walk down the hallways in the maze, very slowly, in an attempt to avoid triggering traps. They come to a spot where the hallway splits into three paths. "Well, I guess why is there G? Okay. Well, I hope we don't decide to split up again because that could get us killed," said Gerald with worry in his voice. "We'll never find audio tapes like this." Ow. "So here's what I suppose we should do. Which is split up into two teams," said Max. "Lily and Gerald, you should go right, while Matt and I will go forward. If any of us runs into a dead-end trap we cannot pass, retrace your steps back here, and we'll meet up again," explained Max. "Hey!"
Oh, that's yours, isn't it? My bad. Itty dum 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 dum.
And there's more of this gone.
Oh shit, we've been drinking out of it. Shit, both of us.
Yeah. Thanks. I don't need germs for my brother. That's gross. In your face.
Just continue eating. We'll forget what this ever happened.
Yeah. You know, Ryder, this Max kid, you made him to be too brave for his own good," said Mr. Max Raccoon, watching from the unknown location through a foggy cloud within a black location. "It's almost like I keep expecting him to fight some sort of monster. Why he's dressed up in shining armor as a knight. It's stupid and it's a cliche," explained Mr. Maniac Raccoon as he sits down, holding the tip of his shoes, rocking back and forth, sitting on his space. Fighting a monster, eh?" said Mr. Raccoon to himself as he stands up and puts his hand on his chin in a thinking gesture. "You know, this whole thing's been kind of boring, so why don't I just spice things up a bit?" said Mr. Raccoon as he rubs his hand on his chin in a thinking gesture. As Mr. Raccoon tries to think to himself, he can sense the frustration in the writer. "Quit breaking the fourth wall!"
There's gonna be lots of that. What are you doing?
There we go. "Gar! Dang it, writer! Keep your rage thoughts to yourself. I know Dragon Program is making you mad, but I'm trying to think here," said Mr. Raccoon with anger in his voice. Well then, while all four kids were discussing their plans to find audio tapes, Mr. Maniac Raccoon's disembodied head appears above them and starts talking. "Hello, kids. I know you're trying to find the rest of the audio tapes. I'm kind of bored, so I decided to spice things up a bit. So here's what I did. I created a monster somewhere in the maze that will chase you anywhere and everywhere. Now keep in mind there are still traps out there, so now there are multiple ways for you to die. Isn't that hilarious? Ha 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 ha!" said Mr. Meow Raccoon, laughing dramatically as disembodied head.
Maniacally.
What?
Maniacally.
Mm. As his disembodied head disappears. Like, just great. What else can possibly go? Said Lily, but before she could finish her sentence, Gerald covers her mouth. Says, "No, no, 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 no. Have you seen any movie at all? When somebody says that thing goes, then things go from bad to worse," explained Jared with fear in his voice. So all four kids split up teams into two teams. One team going forward and the other going right. Matt and Max go down the forward hallway. Eventually, they come to an elevator. "What? An elevator? I wonder why this is here. What this is all about? What is this all about?" said Matt as he puts his hand to his chin in a thinking motion. "Well, knowing Mr. Man Raccoon, it cannot be good," said Max, "so I'll go up the elevator first to see if it's safe," explained Max. "Okay, but what if it's a trap?" asked Matt. "Well, if it's a trap, then I'll let you know what to do to avoid it, since all of Mr. Maniac Raccoon's traps can be avoidable. Then I would know exactly how to avoid the trap." "Whatever it may be," explained Matt. Okay, if you say so," said Matt, with nervousness in his voice. Max gets inside the elevator and presses the up button. "Don't worry, Matt, I'll be fine. That's a promise," said Max as he puts his thumb up in Matt's direction. The door to the elevator slowly closes. Then the elevator begins to rise, and in about 2 seconds the floor of the elevator disappears, with nothing but a platform beneath Max's feet. "Oh man, what now?" said Max with worry in his voice as he looks up into the deep blackness of nothing. Then Max sees spikes at all four corners above him where the elevator is going. "Oh no! Do I seriously have to dodge the spikes?" Max thought to himself. "This is impossible. There are way too many spikes." Max continues to think to himself. Then out of nowhere, the corner of the elevator beyond the spikes, Wiz Greystar's head shows up and says, "Why is this so hard?" said Wiz Greystar's head, quick disappearing as quickly as it came. "Stop!"
Never!
Bro, oh man, that reference was so funny. My sides are starting to hurt," said Mr. Meow the Raccoon, laughing. Yeah, that word again. Watching from his unknown location.
You can't read the word maniacally? Okay, to be fair, I couldn't either.
Exactly.
Moving on.
How dare you try to lecture me when you can't even say it?
This Sudoku is crying.
Sad kitty.
Well, that is kind of my fault, so if you want me to, I'll reveal it.
Not right now, it's fine. I'm watching from his unknown location. Do, 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 do. So as the platform continues to go up towards the spikes, Max manages to dodge the first spike. More spikes show up in the back and the left. Max misses the spikes again by going to the opposite corner of the platform. Suddenly more spikes appear to his right. Max manages again to dodge the sharp metallic spikes. The platform starts going up even faster. Three spikes show up. Max tries to run towards the front of the platform away from the three spikes on the left, right, and back. Max's shoulders get scraped by the spike on the right. Ouch! Said Max. Damn it! As they run around this platform, it tilts a little bit, sliding you towards the spikes sometimes, said Max as he kneels down on his knees, looking up towards the spikes he has to continue to dodge. Excuse me. This is to be harder than I thought. This is going to be harder than I thought, Max thought to himself. Max manages to dodge the rest of the spikes and make it to the top. Hey, Matt! All you have to do is dodge the spikes to get to the top. However, I should warn you, the platform tilts in a direction that you're running. Max hollers down the elevator to the Matt. Matt gets on the platform, pushes the up button. Matt manages to dodge the first spike, but the second one showed up so quickly and the platform tilted towards it that Matt was unable to avoid getting poked in the back by the spike. Ouch. Matt rubs his back where it was poked by the spike. Then he puts his hand in front of his face and notices that there is blood coming out of his back. Oh man, Mr. Maniac Raccoon was not kidding. You said you had to avoid multiple deadly traps in this maze. Matt thought to himself as he looks up at the spikes that he has to dodge next. Halfway up the platform, it starts to go a bit faster. Matt continued to dodge most of the spikes, but one from the exit hits his knuckle and scrapes open the skin on his hand. After dodging a few more spikes, he manages to make it to the top. Oh man! Look, Max! Another stupid hallway. Is this ever going to end? Said Matt after catching his breath. He looks down the hallway. Well, I guess we will have to keep looking now and find the rest of the tapes. Now let's go, Max responded. Max and Matt walked down the hallway and encountered a large door that is boarded up tight. Max looks around and sees a fire axe on the ground. Hey, look, Matt, we can use this to chop down the boarded entrance, said Max as he picks up the fire axe and he takes a practice swing to get his arms loose. Max then puts both hands on the fire axe and swings it with all his might. Whack! Hitting the board so hard half the house shakes. Wow, Max, you're doing it! Hit it again! Exclaimed Matt with excitement, as Max took several more swings, cutting the boards down, clearing the way for an easy entrance through the door. Well, that was convenient, said Matt. Max and Matt walk through the entrance, stepping over the broken boards.
This is going to be a problem because both Max and Matt are together, and both of their names get easily mixed up.
Yeah, no. They come to a hallway that leads to two different directions, with both entrances boarded up. Matt looks around and sees a toolbox on the floor. You know, Max, I think this will come in handy, said Matt as he picks up the toolbox. What do you know about repairing things? Asked Max. Well, first of all, my father works as a technician for electronical equipment. Second of all, I sometimes repair things as a hobby, Matt explains. Really? The kid with the busted up glasses and buck teeth and all that is a nerdy knows how to repair everything. Really? You know, writer, you should really stop putting cliches in this book. It's given me a bad reputation, said Mr. Maniac Raccoon as he continues to eat a turkey sub with a side of chips. That sounds so good.
Mr. Raccoon is picking on you but making you hungry.
But I haven't had a sub in I don't know when.
Do you want any? Well,
Mm-hmm.
here you go. He gives you the sub. You eat
um.
the sub and it turns into graphite. I'm holy now. I'm the holy man. Yeah, I really should bring back the Sailor Rabbit. He's too funny and too fun.
And why am I eating food? Am I supposed to be a cartoon or what? Said Mr. Maniac the Raccoon. All of a sudden, Mr. Maniac the Raccoon would be amazing at cinema sins. Uh, no. Said a disembodied voice at the same time. A sin counter shows up, adding a sin to the book.
These references are gonna kill you, are they?
More like you're gonna be the one that's dead.
What? Why? What did I
You're
do?
the one that created the book.
That unfair? Ding. That's not fair, Mr. the Raccoon.
Anyways, okay, Max, it looks like we can only go left or right. Which direction should we go? Asked Matt. Well, I think right would be the correct direction, said Max. Really? I hope that's not a pun, said Matt. Max walks up to the right hallway and chops down the wood, blocking the entrance with the fire axe.
You can tell at this point when I'm writing, I'm just really just like, ugh.
Yeah. After Max chops down the wood, he takes a step forward, but he can put his feet but before he can put his feet on the floor, Matt grabs him by the back of the shirt. "Watch out, Max," said Matt. At first Max was confused, not understanding why Matt stopped him, but then he looked down to where the floor was supposed to be, only to notice that it was a pitfall with spikes at the bottom. "Well, first of all, thank you, Matt, for saving my life," Max says. "Really, Mr. Maniac? Are you serious? More fucking spikes!" "Can't that dumb raccoon think of anything else besides spikes?"
Why not?
said,
Spikes are fun.
said Max as he stands up next to Matt, away from the pit.
Okay, this is hilarious.
I'm already at page 9. Well, I suppose. No, I guess the left hallway is the right way to go, said Matt as he points at the other entrance behind his shoulder. Max turns around, chops down the wood in the other entrance with the fire axe. Before entering the room, he looks around to see if there are any other traps. He didn't see any, so he entered. Both Max and Matt entered the large room with a big bullet-proof glass window on the left wall, and on the wall in front of them are 4 clear plastic tubes that are connected to different mysterious machines
It's a puzzle.
that head off to the roof. "It looks like some sort of elaborate puzzle," said Matt. "On the mysterious machines are 4 different colors. At the bottom of those colors is some sort of gear that you can only move with a wrench." While Matt tries to figure out what the puzzle is, Max walks up to the window and looks through it. "Hey, look, Matt! It's an audio tape," said Max as he points to the window. Max walks up next to Matt walks up next to Max and looks through the window. God dang him! "Oh yeah, and look, there's a plastic tube above the audio tape, and on the tubes are 4 colored stickered on there just like the mysterious machines," said Matt. "I bet if we use this wrench Inside the toolbox, we can turn the gear on these mysterious machines and hopefully get the audio tape. We just need to match up the four colors to the right mysterious machine, explained Matt as he takes out the wrench from the toolbox. Yeah, but keep in mind this is Mr. Maniac the raccoon we're talking about. Nothing is simple, said Max. We will never know unless we try, right, Max? Said Matt. Well, I guess you're right, but just be careful, said Max as Matt walks over to the mysterious machines and looks at the colors. He matched up the colors from the plastic behind the window and tries to compare them to the machines. Okay, I think it's this one, said Matt with excitement. Matt takes out the wrench and turns the gears. Clang, clack, thump, thwack. The machine starts in a crazy sounding way. Suddenly, through the clear plastic tube, whoosh! A darkish gray metal ball appears. The two boys jump back in shock, keeping their eyes on the shiny metallic spear. Max yells, "It's got a fizz! Yikes, it's a bomb!" screams Matt as he runs away from the machines. The bomb explodes with the machine still intact. That's weird, how the machines weren't destroyed from the explosion, said Max. Max and Matt stand back up from the shockwave of the explosion. Really? Have you ever heard of video game logic? Said Mr. Maniac the raccoon as he mutters down in a sour on a munches down on a sour cream and onion chip. Mm. Stop making me hungry.
Nom. Want a chip?
Not from you.
Okay.
Oh, and
One on.
electrocute him. Oh, and by the way, hashtag not sponsored, said Mr. Maniac the raccoon as he pointed at his chips.
This is too fun.
Sorry about that, there, Max. That last color looked the same as what was on the plastic tube, said Matt. You think? Max says, keeping his cool. Matt walks over and tries a different machine, turning the gear a little harder than he did last time. Clunk! It snaps into place, and the machine begins to work again. Suddenly, swoosh! A blast of air rushes through the tube and sends a clear cylinder in the boys' direction, and it stops immediately in front of them in the tube. Hey, look! Matt says. It worked! Look! In the cylinder, Max, shouts Matt. Max carefully opens the tube and grabs the cylinder and sees an audio tape inside. That's good. Now there are two more audio tapes to go. Max and Matt start to walk back to the rendezvous point with the other two kids. 3 minutes earlier, Lily and Gerald were going down the hallway on the right. They come to another room that is connected with three other hallways. Down the middle or to right and left. Like, that's just perfect. More directions, Lily said with frustration in her voice. Don't worry, Lily. Look, you can tell that the left is a dead end, so that means we have the right and the middle one to choose from, said Gerald. My instincts tells me we should go down the middle one, said Gerald. Like, whatever. I just want to get out of this mousetrap,
I think Lily's about had it.
said Lily with an attitude. So Lily and Gerald go down the middle hallway. Whew, that Gerald has good instincts. Ha, yawn. Dang it. said Mr. Meow the raccoon as he lays down, relaxing. But however, Gerald and Lily made a big mistake going down the right hallway, because even now, it's the right direction to go to get to the next audio tape. That direction has the worst traps, said Mr. Man the raccoon as he smiles with his sinister grin. Something tells me Gerald and Lily are not going to survive, said Mr. Maniac Raccoon. And Mr. Maniac Raccoon laughs dramatically. Ha 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 ha!
You're such a close. Just kidding.
Shush. They come to the end of the hallway, then they turn to the only direction which is right. In the hallway turns forward. At the end of the hallway there is a face on the wall, a statue of a lion with a glass square on its head. As Lily and Gerald walked down the hallway, they immediately stop when they see the glass square on the lion's head as it lights up with numbers 3, 2. Lily and Gerald were looking down the hallway with confusion. 1, 0? Then all of a sudden the lion's mouth opens up and a saw blade shoots out of the lion's mouth. Holy dog biscuits! Duck! Gerald shouted Gerald with fear as Lily and Gerald ducked their heads, and the saw blade cuts a sliver of their hair off of Lily's head. Oh no, my perfect hair! Wow, said Lily as she puts her hand on her head where the saw blade sliced off a sliver of her hair. It looks like we will have to crawl all the way down the hallway, said Gerald, as he crawls down on his hands and knees. Like, are you kidding me? I'm a pretty, perfect, pretty girl. I do not crawl on dirty, dusty floors covered in graphite, said Lily as she stands up with a demanding voice and the statue of lion's head mounted on the wall. The numbers inside the glass square on the lion's head start counting down. Ah, okay, okay, like, I'll do what you say, but I won't like it, said Lily with fear in her voice as she gets down on her hands and knees. Like, great, all the way down the stupid hallway I get widescreen fat ass butt talks in my face. Ass and butt talks is the same thing, Lily. Lily thought to herself. So, Lily and Gerald crawled to the end of the hallway underneath the lion head statue mounted on the wall. Once they were out of the eyesight of the lion head, they stood up and looked around to see if there was any other traps, and there wasn't any. So then they continued on. Oh, I was hoping the saw blade would decapitate one of them, said Mr. Raccoon, putting down his electric guitar. Then he sat down to continue watching the kids try to find the rest of the audio tapes. You are cruel.
I'm pretty sure you probably guessed what he was gonna do.
Mm,
Decapitation.
shush. Gerald and Lily continue on until they reach a stairwell. Funny thing about this staircase was it had no stairs. Instead of stairs, there are metal bars going up at an angle, leading to the three stone platforms on the left and to the right of the wall. In between the three platforms, under the metal bars, there is a hole in the floor. At the bottom of the hole is a large pool of acid. Every minute, one of the two metal bars lights up and sends a voltage of electricity powerful enough to make you lose your grip and drop you into the steaming hot vat of acid. Like, oh great, how are we supposed to get past this? Said Lily with anger and frustration. It should be no problem. It's just like playing a video game, said Gerald with confidence. Yeah, like, only in this scenario you could die, said Lily suddenly. Mr. Raccoon shows up with his hands counting down. 3, 2, 1. Go test your luck, said an unknown video game voice as Mr. Raccoon's hand and head disappear. Gerald runs up the left metal bar and makes it to the first stone platform. On the wall before the metal bar lights up with electricity, and Gerald waits until electricity disappears. When the electricity disappears, Gerald continues running up the bar until he makes it to the top. Come on, Lily, it is easy, shouted Gerald to Lily. It doesn't look easy to me. Lily whispers, oh, it doesn't look easy to me, Lily whispers under her breath. Mr. Maniac the raccoon was going to do the countdown again, but the writer told him not to. What? Why not? Said Mr. Maniac raccoon.
Once is enough.
What? You mean that all jokes should be only one-liners? Said Mr. Maniac raccoon as he crosses his arms like a spoiled rotten child.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh well, just continue on the story. After all, we are writing the story at exactly 1:45 a.m. at night, so this is the perfect time to get as much work done as possible, said Mr. Maniac the raccoon. Jesus.
Yeah.
Lily tries to repeat exactly what Gerald did. She manages to make it to the first stone platform on the wall, but she missed the shock in the bars, and actually steps on the metal bars, and she got electrocuted, and her hair stuck up like she stuck her finger in a light socket. Like, oh no, not my hair again, said Lily as she puts her hands on her head with a whiny voice. Quit whining! Still alive, so come on and try not to kill yourself, said Gerald with frustration in his voice. Lily managed to make it to the top. As soon as Lily got to the top, huffing and puffing, trying to catch her breath. Good job, Lily.
I like the
Now,
plan, Lily.
all we have to do is make it the rest of the way to get the last two audio tapes, said Gerald. Like, quit making it sound so easy, said Lily as she's trying to catch her breath. He's the one that's heavyweight. You're the one that's skinny. I mean, come
Fair
on.
enough.
Like, this is you and Matt's fault for letting those bullies challenge us to dare, said Lily with anger in her voice as she points her finger into Gerald's face. Before Gerald could respond, the floor opens beneath them and they fall down into the trap, landing not so comfortably on their butts. Ouch, that hurt, said Gerald as he and Lily stand up, rubbing their butts. All of a sudden, Mr. Mia Raccoon appears in front of them. Hello, ladies and gents. As you can see, for this trap here, you get both the shovels in front of you and the wall of sand to dig through. But wait, the fun is behind you. A wall of saw blades. You may want to hurry because in 2 minutes and 50 seconds those saw blades start coming after you. Oh man, this trap is so funny. If that's it makes my side hurt, said Mr. Anchor Raccoon as he snaps his fingers and disappears.
What?
I know this reference.
Mm, I bet you can't name it. But whatever, moving on.
It's Saw.
No, not even close.
He's the one that does the stupid timing things.
Oh, you're referring to Jigsaw, but no, nothing like that.
Sure.
It might have been just a coincidence because I really don't like Saw.
Like, what I said about this being you guys' fault again? Lily says with anger in her voice. Lily, there's no time to argue. Grab a shovel and dig, said Gerald with fear in his voice. Lily and Gerald each grab a shovel and start digging through the wall of sand, with the wall of saw blades close behind them. Gerald and Lily continue to dig as fast as they can, the blades slowly creeping up on them. Lily and Gerald start to break a sweat as they continue digging through the sand, with fear that they are going to be ground up like hamburger by the walls of saw blades. Come on, keep digging, shouted Gerald. Like what you think I am doing, responded Lily, huffing and puffing.
Sure thing.
Please and thank you. I will continue in a little bit. My throat's a little dry. Mm. Give me the milk and I'll drink that first. As Lily and Gerald continue to dig through the sand, they notice something on the floor where she was digging into the sand. She sees a piece of plastic peeking out. She digs through, leans down, and gets it as fast as she can. She grabs it out of the sand and she sees an audio tape. Hey, look! I found an audio tape, said Lily with excitement as she holds it up. Gerald looks at Lily holding it up, and they disappear into a safe hallway. Like what? Where are we? asked Lily, asked Lily as she and Gerald look around. I think we're safe, said Gerald as he looks around with his hand on his chin in a thinking gesture. Mr. Maniac Raccoon watches and smiles with sinister intent. Not even close, said Mr. Maniac Raccoon. Now all we have to do is get this audio tape to the audio player, said Gerald as he kindly takes the audio tape out of Lily's hand. Suddenly sounds come from the wooden steps behind them. Like, what's that? Said Lily, chattering through her teeth. Gerald and Lily turn around and see down the hallway that turns to the right. On the wall flashes a shadow figure moving from left to right in their directions. Standing before them is a 4.5 foot tall teddy bear with wooden puppet like arms and razor sharp knife like fingers, and even sharper spikes on its arms with eyes of insanity, and ears of two razor blades appearing before them. Behold my own monstrous creation, Psycho Teddy! Mr. Raccoon announces with the echo we always hear in the maze. Like, what kind of goofiness is this? Said Lily with disappointment. Hey, look, said Gerald, pointing at Psycho Teddy's chest. There's an audio tape inside Psycho Teddy's chest, Gerald explains. Like, never mind, we can just start running now, said Lily. Gerald looks at her with confusion and then turns to Psycho Teddy, where Psycho Teddy is running towards them with a threatening pace. Ah! I take your point, screamed Gerald as Lily and Gerald run as fast as they can away from Psycho Teddy. They come to the earlier trap where the stone platforms or bars are. Instead of walking on the middle bars, Lily and Gerald jumped as high as they could to land on the top of the stone platforms with Psycho Teddy close behind. They managed to make it past the obstacle and run down the hallway. Psycho Teddy is close behind, and Psycho Teddy stops and puts his two hands together with red energy flashing. Psycho Teddy lifts his arms and takes aim and fires the red projectiles towards Lily and Gerald, missing them and hitting the wall instead with explosive results. Boom! Psycho Teddy put his hands together again with more flashing red energy building. He continues, to chase after them at a threatening pace. Lily and Gerald, hush,
Huh? What?
nothing, nothing. Gerald run fast enough to lose sight of Teddy. Phew! Like that was close, said Lily, wiping the sweat off her head. Come on, Lily, let's go and see if Max and Matt have found the other audio tape as well, said Gerald. Eventually, Max and Matt, Gerald, and Lily find each other at the spot where their audio recorder is. One of them then put the audio tapes in the audio recorder and pressed play. This is the audio log of Michael Keon, who played as all three of the Goon brothers. I don't know about the studio. It's a little strange how the writer and producer seem to act around here. But at least the cameraman is a decent guy, nice guy. But I can't believe them working with Lori Yaga, who plays as an anthropomorphic
Anthropomorphic.
moth, who is the leader of the mafia. Me and her seem to get along very nicely, however. She hardly has any time to go out with me because she is so busy. However, one day when I went to go to talk to her at her office, I came across a janitor who was sneaking around. I asked him what he was doing in Laurie's office. He didn't tell me, he just told me to pretend I'm not here and left. But however, that's not the strangest thing. One time I heard the janitor got caught stealing David Fisher's sketchbook, and I actually saw the janitor get caught and give the sketchbook back to David. Strange thing is that it is not what happened, but what I saw. The sketchbook had a pentagram on the front cover, and as I stared at it, noticing the great artistry and design, it started to glow a magical color, and I thought, it's completely impossible. It bothered me for a little bit, but I continued to do my work at the studio, said the voice from the tape recorder as it stopped. Then Gerald reaches into his pocket and grabs the next tape to play. This is the audio log of Jonathan Pines, the co-producer of Funny Cartoon Studios and the head leader of the Devil Cartoons cult. To ensure the great creation of our all-powerful God, Mr. Maniac the Raccoon, we had to make a deal with Satan and the angel fate. I know what you're thinking. Why should we trust the Grim Reaper as well as Satan? Well, ow, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. The angel of fate that promised to bring glory to our age, where all around us the deep depression is slowly killing us. Soon our enemies will buy our country, where we will be slaves for all eternity. This is happening. We must turn to an all-powerful being that can save us. Only the powerful cartoon can save us. When we ask the angel of fate to give us the power to create an all-powerful being, he gave us the pencil of imagination. He said it is an all-powerful tool that will look on par with godlike magic. Honestly, I don't know what he meant, but we used the pencil of imagination to create the Mr. Maniac raccoon. However, the final process, the angel of fate took it upon himself to finish giving life to Mr. Maniac the raccoon. He told us if we peeked to see the creation of the something, our souls would be erased from all eternity. Of course, I don't know what he meant. How oh how can you understand a malevolent being? Said the voice from the tape recorder. The tape recorder ended. Back in Mr. Maniac Raccoon's dark space location, he was listening to the tape recorder. After the tape recorder ended, he rips his chip bag in half, and his black and white cartoon colored skin turns many shades of blood boiling red. Of course I provided their cult at the same time when humans gave me fame and fortune, but when David, no, it was more than that. It was everyone who betrayed me, forgotten who I was. My existence did not matter any more to them. They tried to erase me. They tried to imprison me. But they did not realize that they could not erase what they created. As soon as the kids let me out of this temporary prison, I would make the world in my own image as an all powerful being of infinite Leviathan power. Mwahaha! Oh man, my sides again, said Mr. Maniac Raccoon. All of a sudden, Mr. Maniac Raccoon hears a sad melody coming from the music box behind him. I knew you were watching the story unfold from the very beginning, said Mr. Maniac Raccoon, without having to turn around to see what appears to be a man wearing a depressing cloak type robe, with turquoise glowing wings holding a heart-shaped locket. Sudoku, the angel of fate. Or better yet, the archangel of death, said Mr. Maniac Raccoon. Whatever. Mr. Maniac Raccoon turns to face him. Sudoku puts away his locket to his robe. So tell me, Sudoku, why have you come? Asked Mr. Maniac Raccoon. I have come to watch your fate, as I do for all, said Sudoku. Mr. Maniac Raccoon stares at Sudoku for a while. Ha ha ha! Do you really think I, an all-powerful being such as myself, would fall to the likes of the common death? Said Mr. Maniac Raccoon with confidence in his skin turning its natural black and white color. Fate does not always mean death. What if you think you can defy fate, then please prove it to me, said the Archangel. Well, very well, Sudoku. You may watch. But before you stand in my way, I will obliterate you from all existence, said Mr. Maniac Raccoon, with a threatening voice. As the Angel of Fate slowly vanishes off into the distance, he says, I am always watching. Well, regardless if he's watching or not, I will not let my soul fall to him. In the meantime, I must get ready for the end of this chapter, said Mr. Maniac Raccoon as he puts his hand forward and summons an electric guitar in his hand. Meanwhile, the four kids start a conversation about how to get the last audio tape. Hey, Max, I know where the last audio tape is, said Gerald. Yes? Where is it, Gerald? Max shouted with excitement. Like, the last audio tape is inside of Psycho Teddy's chest, Lily explained. Who is Psycho Teddy? Asked Matt very logically. My booty hurts. Eh. Psycho Teddy is a 4.5 foot tall abomination created by Mr. Maniac the Raccoon, the evil devil himself, explained Gerald. How in the world are we supposed to get the audio tape from that? Said Max with concern in his voice as he puts his hand under his chin in a thinking gesture. You know what? With all these traps around, I bet we can easily trick it into falling into one, said Matt. Like, if Psycho Teddy falls into a hole, just how are we supposed to get the audio tape from Psycho Teddy's corpse? Said Lily. While considering that, Mr. Maniac Raccoon has made all the traps and all the obstacles around here based on video game logic. It is logical to believe that the goal here is to actually kill Psycho Teddy by any means necessary, which means if we have Psycho Teddy fall down into a hole, then the other tape will be in our possession regardless. Logically, explained Matt. Well, I know of a trap that was not too far from here that we can lead Psycho Teddy to, said Max. Me and Lily will get Psycho Teddy's attention and lead him to the trap. Matt and Gerald, you hide next to the trap so we know where it is. For one, and for two, if anything goes wrong, you could divert Psycho Teddy's attention away from me and Lily. Max continues to explain. But what are we waiting for? Let's do it, said Gerald. Yes, let's finally get out of this death trap, said Matt. As the four kids go out to get the last audio tape from Psycho Teddy, Mr. Maniac Raccoon in his unknown space has created three clones of himself, each one with their own mystical instrument.
I'm pretty darn sure you know what's coming.
Hmm.
I hope you're awake enough for this.
Should be. The first one has an electric guitar and a microphone in front of him.
Boop, boop.
Bonnie.
Oh.
The second one has a drum set in front of him. And the third one has a xylophone in front of him. Neither one of those I have a reference for. Okay. And they'll
Guess it wasn't
start.
supposed to be a reference.
Hush. And they'll start playing music and a song based on what the kids are doing. Searching, searching out of fear, and to find your nightmares, sang Mr. Maniac Raccoon as four kids continue to look for Psycho Teddy. Okay. Within their internal maze lies before them the nightmare they seek. Knowing it's not a game, they pace in front of their nightmares, sang Mr. Maniac Raccoon. I'm enjoying this.
Okay, fine.
As Max and Lily find Psycho Teddy by getting his attention and staying in front of them, avoiding obstacles and potential attacks from Psycho Teddy. The smell of fear, blood brings, sweat and tears, of the pain of fear, to run away to succeed. Mr. Maniac the Raccoon continues to sing as Max and Lily stay ahead of Psycho Teddy. Faster, faster they go as the chase of coming nightmares. I'll plan not to crash and burn. The smell of fear blood brings sweat and tears of the pain of fear. To run away to succeed. Speed ahead for cartoons with all the love and glory. What could they say to reach through sanity to find the glory again? Could they change madness into glory? Speed ahead for cartoons with all their love and glory. What could they say to reach through insanity to find the glory again? Could they change madness to glory? Sang Mr. Maniac Raccoon. Max and Lily continue to run away from Psycho Teddy, leading him to the trap. Mr. Maniac Raccoon plays their electric guitar solo for about 1 minute. At the same time, the four kids continue with their plan.
I knew that was gonna kill your voice. Sorry.
Yeah. Lying low, under cover, behind their wall of safety lies salvation. We've come so far, there is no surrender. The smell of fear, blood brings it in tears. Facing death will make courage to find glory, to find glory. We must let go of the madness, sang Mr. Raccoon.
You're enjoying yourself way too much, bro.
Yeah, but it's hell on my throat.
I'm starting to think that milk might be a bad thing, though.
It slowly coats the throat, sort of. At the same time, Matt and Gerald are hiding behind the corner of the wall. In front of them is the hallway where the trap is. If all goes according to plan, Psycho Teddy will chase Max and Lily down the hall. They will then jump over the trap, and Psycho Teddy will fall in. Can I have some of my water? That might help a little more.
Reach. You might want to refill that eventually.
Ah, okay. The smell of beer, blood brings sweat and tears. The pain of fear, to run away to succeed. Speed ahead for cartoons with all their loving glory. What could they say to reach through sanity to find their glory again? Could they change madness into glory? Speed ahead for cartoons with all their loving glory. What could they say to reach through sanity to find glory again? Could they change madness into glory to run, to run, to run away? Sang Mr. Maniac the Raccoon as Max and Lily jump over the trap and Psycho Teddy steps on the trap and the trap opens. Psycho Teddy falls into the pit of lava. Psycho Teddy screams, "Ah!" as he flies through the air down the trap into the scalding hot lava. Psh! Ah! Psycho Teddy lands in the lava and instantly burns into thin air, and the echoes from the trap of his screams become silent. The last audio tape leaps out of the hole and onto the floor in front of the four kids. Max picks up the last audio tape, and the four kids go to where the tape recorder is. When they reach the location, Max puts the last audio tape in the tape recorder and presses play. This is the audio log of Norman Bastion, the janitor. I was there when the mysterious events started in their amazing building of Funny Cartoons headquarters. The other janitors and I were given the task to make sure this wonderful, magical place was always kept nice and clean for all the amazing artists and directors. However, strange occurrences started happening when actor Robert Howard asked me to sneak around in the offices and get him a few things. At first I thought it would be nice if he had just left some things inside his office. Oh. Then I realized the things that he was having left were very strange. He had to find sketchbooks with pentagrams on them, even evidence of medallions from a Pacific cult. I started to realize that what he was having me do is to collect evidence to prove that Funny Cartoons was in a league with a satanic cult. Robert wanted me to prove that this cult existed and something must be done. "I'll do whatever it takes as long as I'm not a sacrifice to their god," said the voice of the tape recorder. After the tape recorder stopped, the exit door opened as Mr. Miyagi Raccoon had promised. "Like, yay! We're out of here!" said Lily with relief. The four kids breathed a sigh of relief as they exit the infinite maze, with Mr. Miyagi Raccoon sneaking his way out the door with them. End of chapter. Or is it? After the four kids After the four kids and Mr. Maniac Raccoon exit the infinite maze, two dark figures appear before the exit. Mr. Maniac Raccoon thinks that he can have all the fun, but he doesn't realize that the pencil of imagination didn't just wake him up, but also other evils as well, said one of the dark figures as they both walked to the exit. The end. Sorry, guys, for my singing if it was horrible, but here is my
It
brother.
wasn't.
Shush, you always think it is.
It is. I didn't. I did not deserve that. Unfortunately, it looks like Tilly took off before I can ask her what she thought about the story. But for now, I guess it's please like, subscribe, and this is Zerduku and Akari that just went to go grab something to eat. Signing out.